Okay, so we're continuing. We're learning a few letters. We learned one on Friday, and we have three letters here, all on the subject of Kabbalah's oil, all on the subject of the importance of accepting the divine authority, and specifically the notion of doing my duty because I have to, without question, without without relying on how much I understand or don't understand. And the irony being, everything we're reading, that this is actually the solution to the person who's feeling dissatisfied, feeling like something's missing. Like we saw in the last letter, the person feels like something's missing, and never tells him what he's missing is. It's just the realization of how important his duty is and that the privilege he has to be part of that service. So another three letters that are similar in that regard. So we're looking at letter number 4099. So Daled Tzadik Tes. It'll be on the bottom of the page there. That's the fourth or fifth page on the thing there. Okay. So Baruch Hashem Zayin Shvat Tavshin Tez Zayin. This is a letter from the 7th of Shvat, 1956. Brooklyn. Shalom Bracha, greetings and blessing. Doesn't say a name here, and it doesn't say whether he's a bacher in yeshiva or not. It's possible he is, but I'm not so sure. You'll tell me what you think. Okay, but mine al machtava, in response to your letter. Okay, again, the Rebbe writes always in third person, especially in Hebrew. So literally, it says in response to his letter. But it's a formal way of saying your letter. So I'm just going to read it in the first person. So mine al machtava, in response to your letter, by Kaisev, in which you write, Shem Navochu, that you feel confused. Navuch is the same terminology used for Murder and Navuchim, a guide to the perplexed. You feel Navuch, you feel lost, confused, all kinds of thoughts, etc. The Shoyal, and you also ask, Ezes Seder Belimud, etc. What? Asking for a structure in his learning. So he's feeling confused, and he's also asking for a structure in his learning. Okay? So says the Rebbe, top of Reish Ayin Tes. These two questions are dependent one on the other. They're dependent one on the other. And not, as you might think, first get yourself unconfused, and then I'll give you a system of what to learn. Or even, does he say, if you learn the right things, you'll stop being confused. That's not how he says it. He says rather, if you just keep to the structure of learning, whatever it is, just keep this. That's why I said I'm not sure if he's a bacher or not. It could be he's a bacher in yeshiva, but the point still stands. When you keep the structure of learning, and you'll learn with diligence and focus and attention, everything else will fall into place. You're asking me what to learn, and you're telling me you're confused. And you're asking for like a structure in learning. What you learn, not even suggesting, not even discussing that. It's not the issue. The issue is lack of organization in your learning. Sorry? Yeah. It says what's missing here is keeping to the Seder. You have to the Seder. Make a structure and have a structure. That's why it's probably a bacher in yeshiva. Although I don't know why he would be asking what yeshiva learning. I mean, the yeshiva is learning things already. Maybe it's a bacher in yeshiva who wants to know which things to learn when. I don't know. But there was more telling him it doesn't matter what you're learning. The point is that you keep to your structure of learning. When you're in your structure, everything else will settle out. That's what he says. Everything else will settle. Just as it was when the Jews received the Torah the first time, at the time when they were giving the Torah, the way they received the Torah was by first saying, yes, we'll do what you ask. And then they found out what it is Hashem was asking. Right? We will do and we will listen. That's the phrasing, Nasav Nishma. The same thing is true how we are instructed to keep to our daily service, our daily schedule. First of all, do what you got to, and then you'll figure out how and what you're going to look. First and foremost, get the structure, get the Seder. Be in the Seder of learning. And what you're learning and whether you enjoy it more, enjoy it less, that'll come second. keep to the Seder of learning, and a lot of the confusion will clear up just from that. The brachas, like the Mishnah rules, the Mishnah there discusses why we say Shema every day, v'hafta nevayim shemaya. So the Mishnah asks, why do we say v'hafta before v'hayim shemaya? And the Mishnah answers, Yikabel of oil malchus shemayim, because the first paragraph, Shema v'hafta, is to accept the yoke of heaven. And then afterwards, oil mitzvahs. And then v'hayim shemaya is to accept upon ourselves the yoke of specific mitzvahs. The paragraph v'hayim shemaya has more specifics about reward and what you'll get and more details of the mitzvahs. So therefore the Mishnah says, first and foremost is Hashem is in charge. And then number two is, here are the specific mitzvahs Hashem asks. So same thing was here. Same thing here. Pshita, and therefore it's clear. Good morning. Shekenu gam b'negei love. The same thing is true with regard to you. First of all, except taking upon ourselves the duty. That's number one. Just taking upon ourselves the duty to stick to the Seder. And then once he's done that, Hashem will grant him matzliach, be successful. And with time, you'll also find pleasure and enjoyment in it. If you're going to wait around for the enjoyment and then you'll stick to the Seder, you'll remain confused and foggy. First, the Seder, the fog will clear up, and then as that happens, you'll start to see more and more you'll enjoy it. Even though this enjoyment is not the primary is to do what you have to do. But you'll see, once you get into that habit, the joy and the pleasure, the delight will follow. Then the Rebbe concludes, as the Rebbe concluded, many letters. I don't know how many letters the Rebbe concluded with this paragraph. No doubt, you keep to the three set learnings, or the set shiurim, that are equal for everyone. Which have been established by my father-in-law, the previous Rebbe, Chumash, Tehillim, and Tanya Hagiduim, the well-known portions of Chumash, Tehillim, and Tanya, Chitas. And this all, Noisif, is in addition, Al-Shar Limudai, in addition to all of his other learnings, Hein Ben Nigla, whether he's in the revealed component of Torah, the Hein B'Chassidus, whether in Chassidus. I don't know how many letters ever ended like this. No doubt you're keeping to Chumash, Tehillim, Tanya, in addition to all the rest of your learning. But Amar, with blessings for good news and all the above, and is signed by the Secretariat in the name of the Rebbe. It's a similar kind of theme. It's first and foremost the privilege to serve, the privilege to fulfill my duty, and starts from there. Then, like you said, like the Rebbe says it here, what you're learning is not so important as sticking to the Seder. Once you stick to the Seder and it becomes a consistency, everything else will flow. Very powerful and almost simple idea, but you need to be reminded. Okay, so the next page is another letter, a very interesting letter as well. Vav, Tov, Kuf, Ayin Beis. That would be letter 6,972. Okay. Baruch Hashem Tazayin Menachem Av, the 16th of Menachem Av. Tavshin Yotes, that would be 1959. Brooklyn, New York, L'chvoid, Rav Chassid, appellations, Mr. Rabbi M. Lissman. Anybody know who that is? Doesn't say on the bottom. Anybody know who that is? Someone knows? Feel free to share. Okay, Shalom Bracha, greetings and blessings.
This means that the person gave permission to keep the name? Because some have names, some don't.
Why? I assume they decide based on
the
content of the letter. I don't know whose discretion it is. I can't say that. I don't know. Okay. I'm here. I'm affirming having received your letter. By Kaisiv, in which you write, you write outlines about the objective of your work. And specifically in Hanesi, I was very happy later to see in the issues of Biton Achdos Yisrael, not Achdos Hashem, sorry, Biton Achdos Yisrael. It was some sort of publication that this guy edited or published. Anybody knows what this is? Anyway, I saw there that you hold public teachings in public shiur and public classes in Gemara. I'm very happy to hear that. And my hope that these classes are in accord with the instructions of our sages, which is limud ha'mevela de ma'isa, the kind of learning that leads to action in everybody's daily life. But not specifically, but with respect to those, someone who has a effect or someone has influence on a particular segment of the population, even learning that seems not to be attached directly to action, at least at first glance, nonetheless, it changes the person's outlook of life. And therefore it automatically changes the way the people listening are thinking as well. Okay, so at best, your learning is directed at action, and even if it's not, just in general, Torah learning helps shape the mind of those who are learning, and therefore it has its effect in that way. But in our times, this question of outlook on life requires specific attention, special attention, tikkun and rectification, becoming a kodesh ikris in a number of very fundamental things. There's mistaken worldview, and that has to be fixed. Even though now, today, the rule of the Mishnah still applies, it's still true that action is the main thing, but nonetheless, especially nowadays, world outlook is an issue. And therefore, working on world outlook is just as good as that are action-based. Okay. I'm moving a little bit quicker because there's a main paragraph that I wanted to address, which comes up soon. I wanted to highlight specifically with respect to a certain movement that you are a member of, according to what you wrote to me. One of the foundations of this movement that you're part of is following instructions and being drafted to follow the rules of this group, and not just in your free time. I'm not sure which group this is. But part of this group is to stand ready, to listen to the instruction of your direct superior, your officer, even on days that are called normal. So I guess it's some sort of system where they have like a mashpia or something that instructs people what to do, and the Rebbe is enjoying this.
Maybe it's in military in Israel.
I was thinking about that too.
Sorry?
Maybe it's military, but the Rebbe would have addressed it. It's great.
Maybe it is.
Maybe. I don't know.
In Matnua, some movement. Okay. According to the phrase that was instructed as a foundational teaching from our teacher, the Baal Shem Tov, and my father-in-law, the previous Rebbe, used to say this, repeat this teaching very often. Everything that a Jew sees, or hears, everything is by divine providence. To serve as an instruction, that he should fulfill his mission and purpose in life, which is Torah mitzvahs and following Hashem in everything we do. Now, okay, so I'm learning about what this program you're part of, and that itself is a lesson. This program in which you're full-time, like drafted, everybody uses the term drafted and the term mifaket, like an officer, so maybe it is a military thing. I don't know. But this program you're part of, in which you have to follow the instructions of your superior all the time, which is a lesson. Now, seemingly, this is an expectation that's impossible to fulfill completely. 24/7. Impossible. Because a person's feelings and a person's understanding are subject to change. Right? So all the time, I'm always going to be doing the same thing and serving Hashem equally. Very difficult. I change, people change. It's not just changes over periods of time. Even in the same year, I can change the way I feel or the way I think. In the same month, on the same day. In one day, I could be more in the mood or less in the mood in one day. And this is like contrast to the above mentioned demand. She built the shinuyim, which is without change, always following instructions. So what do? Right, so this comes to our subject. And the explanation is based on certain foundations. Parshas Yisroi, as quoted in the Medrash in Parshas Yisroi, there was a prerequisite for Hashem giving the Torah the 10 Commandments. Namely, this is similar to the Gemara that the Rebbe quoted in the previous paragraph, but the context is a bit different in the Medrash, but it's the same idea, which is, Hashem says, before I tell you what to do, first of all, am I your king? First, I'm your king, and if you say yes, then I'll tell you what to do, not find out what to do, and then, right? First, Kabbalah's Shemayim, and then Kabbalah's mitzvahs. First of all, Hashem is my king. And then, what to do? This is a big subject in the Rosh Hashanah Maimarim, and this letter is in Elul, right? Right?
No, Menachem Av.
Well, the previous letter was Elul. This is Av. Okay. So first Hashem is king, and then the specifics of what to do. Shekabbalas HaMalchus, accepting divine sovereignty. Hu'inin Shekabbalas Oil, this is to accept the yoke, to accept that this is my boss, and this is who I listen to. She'ene Tolo B'Seichel V'Regesh Dafka, and this is not subject or dependent on how I understand or how I feel. So where does my feelings and intelligence come in if the point here is Hashem says and that's it? Or Hashem is in charge and that's it? Sha'aseichel v'hergish, intelligence and feelings, yecholim rak l'shamesh emsoi, only serve as a medium, lachdiroi, so that this permeate gam l'shetach hargasha v'gam l'shetach regesh b'lev, hasaga v'gam l'shetach regesh b'lev. My feelings and intelligence serve to take that acceptance I have of Hashem and make it permeate the rest of me. That's not the primary. In other words, the primary is Hashem is in charge, and that's what I'm listening. That's what I do. My mind is then, okay, so since Hashem is in charge, now I'm going to use my mind so that my following Hashem also permeate my mind. I'm going to use my feelings so that my decision to follow Hashem permeate my feelings as well. So good morning.
Morning.
We're going to start services momentarily in the room to the left there. But the mind and the heart is not what brings to my following what Hashem wants. It's now that I've accepted to follow what Hashem wants, now I'm going to use the mind and the heart so that it comes into me as also. Way around. Moreover, by taking upon ourselves to follow Hashem's instruction beyond rationale, one actually comes to a deeper understanding, and a more subtle, deeper feeling. Because the person becomes a vessel. The person decides he's going to follow what Hashem instructs, and he becomes more open to having deeper understanding, a deeper understanding of the Maimer, a deeper feeling. Once there's the foundation of, I am a servant of Hashem. Therefore, it's through this important foundation that exists in your program, whichever program this person is part of, or movement, that you guys have a unique opportunity to bring in Torah, the living Torah, the Kima mitzvahs, and the fulfillment of mitzvahs, the poyel b'chaim hayom yomim, in reality and day-to-day life, and in a unique way, in a very you guys are in a prime position to bring Torah mitzvahs into your lives. So maybe this is a military thing.
Maybe Boy Scouts.
The Boy Scouts or something like that, yeah. Here, this is the beautiful line right here that really caught my eye when I read this. And not like those who mistakenly say that the youth of our generation, they're the kind of people or personalities who are not ready and not open to following instructions and accepting authority. People nowadays don't accept authority.
And that was 1972.
19, pushing your test. What's the year? 1959.
Oh, whoa.
The contrary is true. זהו אחד התכסיסים הכי מוצלחים לכבוש בני הנוער והצעירים. This is one of the best weapons to conquer and to win over the youth. ולאו דווקא דתיים או דתיים למחצה, and not specifically religious kids or even half religious kids. אלא as כולם, but to come all youth. עד שמגייסים אותם, when you recruit them, ויוצאים בקרות והיכולצו, when you come out with a phrase, היכולצו means, man up or not man up, arm up. It's like that was referring. I think they was using a paraphrase on the Zionist Chalutzim movement, the movement of the settlers, which was called Chalutzim, which means like to be a pioneer, to be a leader. You're a fighter. Bavad shadia hasbara mitzvah pnimis. So long as you provide a true and deep explanation, kids are open for this. We don't have enough time. Okay, it's a few more minutes. Even if at first glance, even if this call doesn't conquer their minds, or their feelings, because you're asking for them to take upon themselves responsibility and duty. Came. The end, it will. How? However, you're going to explain to the kids, whether you're going to talk to their more materialistic inclinations or give them a animal soul type explanation, which would be that being recruited and standing under authority of whoever it is, after whom you have no questions, this frees the recruitee from his own responsibilities, and he no longer has to stress about making decisions. So if you want to address it that way, that works too. You tell someone, you get into a program, this is the program you follow, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to stress about decision making because you know what you have to do. If that's the appeal. Or ideas through true explanation, God's candle is the soul of the Jew, the soul of the person, the godly soul. It's a nature in every soul. Considering it's a spark of God above, every Jew is naturally drawn to its source. We're naturally drawn to Hashem anyway. Teva, a nature, as the Alter Rebbe puts it, quote, nature is that which you can't explain. As the Alter Rebbe says. When you say something's natural, what do you mean? Well, I can't explain it, but it's just the way it is. And this is the nature of the Jew. The nature of the Jew is he's drawn to Hashem. So however you're going to talk to these kids and tell them why they need to follow Hashem, either because it's valuable, because now they're freed from decision-making, because they know what they have to do in life. They're not full of anxiety, what do I have to do, what should I choose, what should I this? That's number one. Or you're going to appeal to the fact that you have an neshama and your neshama wants to follow Hashem, and here's a system for you to follow Hashem. Done. Right? And because the logic and understanding is only an external factor to the truth of the neshama, which is that it wants to serve Hashem. Okay, unfortunately, if we stop here because davening is coming, but Rebbe goes on to say that the youth is craving this. The youth is craving. People have a mistaken thinking that because the youth act all, it means that they're not interested in following orders. It's the reverse. The youth is craving structure. They're craving to be able to do what they have to do and know with clarity that this is what they have to do. And this will bring them the end satisfaction. After this letter, we'll see what the rabbi is holding. But the next letter I put in this packet is an English letter, actually. So you can read it on your own. It's a beautiful letter as well, on the same subject. Well, have a wonderful day, Yidden.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you send out the letter, the English letter, to everybody?
I put the, a few days ago, I put a PDF with all of this stuff we learned. In the last letter, there is in English there. It's a beautiful letter. It's on Chabad. I took it from Chabad.org.
Thank you very much.